Imagine, if you will, a longship gliding silently across the dark, still waters. The only sound, the gentle lapping of waves against the wooden hull. The air is crisp and carries the scent of salt and pine. This is the feeling we'll carry with us as we explore the Viking Age, a period often painted in stark, dramatic strokes, but one that deserves a gentler, more nuanced understanding. Tonight, we'll move beyond the common images of horned helmets and bloodthirsty raiders and discover the rich tapestry of Viking life. We often picture Vikings solely as fierce warriors, sailing across the seas to pillage and plunder. And yes, raiding was a part of their lives, a necessary activity in a time when resources were scarce. But these voyages were not just about violence. They were also about trade, exploration, and the establishment of new settlements. Think of the brave men and women huddled together in the ship's hold, sharing stories under the flickering light of oil lamps, their voices hushed by the rhythmic rocking of the sea. They were not simply brutes. They were navigators, skilled sailors who possessed an intimate knowledge of the stars and currents, allowing them to traverse vast oceans with remarkable precision. Picture the careful planning, the meticulous crafting of the ships themselves, each plank a testament to skill and dedication. These weren't haphazard journeys. They were carefully orchestrated endeavors requiring incredible bravery, resilience, and teamwork. Their world wasn't just about the open sea. Viking settlements, scattered across the vast landscapes of Scandinavia and beyond, offered a glimpse into their daily lives. Imagine the warmth of a longhouse, filled with the smells of cooking food and the sounds of children playing. Picture the community gatherings, the sharing of stories passed down through generations. The Vikings were skilled craftspeople, creating beautiful and intricate works of art from metal, wood, and bone. Think of the intricate designs on their jewelry, the finely crafted weapons, the powerful runes etched into stone. These objects speak not only of their practical skills, but also of their artistic sensibilities, their deep connection to their heritage and beliefs. They weren't just fighters. They were builders, artisans, and farmers who toiled the land and built thriving communities. Their beliefs, too, often remain shrouded in mystery. They worshipped a pantheon of gods and goddesses, each with their own unique stories and powers. Imagine the awe-inspiring rituals held in sacred groves, the hushed reverence as they made offerings to the divine. Their mythology, filled with heroes and monsters, reflects their relationship with the natural world and the profound mysteries of life and death. Their sagas, passed down through generations of storytellers, whisper of kings and queens, warriors and shamans, weaving a narrative that reflects both their harsh realities and their rich spiritual life. These weren't crude barbarians. They were a people with a deep and complex culture, their traditions and beliefs reflecting a profound connection to the land, the sea, and the cosmos. Let the image of that longship, gliding silently across the water, lull you into a peaceful slumber. Let the gentle rhythm of the waves wash away the day's anxieties, as we drift into the quiet embrace of Viking history, a story far more intricate and fascinating than we often realize. Sleep well and dream of the Vikings. Imagine the harsh beauty of Scandinavia. Picture the fjords, those deep, narrow inlets cutting into the coastline, like fingers of the sea reaching into the land. The water, a deep, dark blue, reflecting the gray skies that often hang heavy above. And the forests, vast and ancient, stretching for miles, a sea of green and brown, punctuated by the tall, straight trunks of pine and birch. This is where the Viking story begins, in a land sculpted by ice and wind, a land of long, dark winters and short, bright summers. The Norse people, as they were known, lived close to the land, their lives deeply intertwined with its rhythms. Their homes, often simple longhouses, were built of wood and turf, sturdy against the harsh weather. Smoke curled lazily from the chimneys, carrying the scent of wood smoke and cooking fires. They were farmers, fishermen, and skilled craftsmen, their days filled with the practical work of survival. The men would tend to the fields, their hands rough from the earth, while the women spun wool, wove cloth, and preserved food for the long winter months ahead. The long, dark winters were a time of rest and storytelling. Families gathered around the fire, the flickering flames dancing on the walls, as tales of gods and heroes, of brave exploits and ancient battles were shared and passed down through generations. These stories, filled with magic and wonder, helped them endure the cold and darkness, keeping hope alive until the first tentative rays of spring sun pierced the gloom. The Norse worldview was shaped by this landscape. Their gods and goddesses, powerful figures of myth and legend, were connected to the natural world around them. Odin, the Allfather, wise and powerful, was associated with wisdom and magic. Thor, the god of thunder, embodied strength and protection. Freya, the goddess of love and beauty, presided over fertility and abundance. These deities weren't distant, ethereal beings. They were woven into the fabric of daily life, their presence felt in the wind, the rain, and the changing seasons. Life was not always easy. The land, while beautiful, was unforgiving. The sea, a source of sustenance, could also be treacherous, claiming lives and livelihoods in a moment's notice. But the Norse people were resilient, resourceful, and adaptable. Their culture was built on a foundation of community, strength, and a deep respect for the land that provided for them. Their ships, long and sleek, were their lifeline, carrying them across the sea to trade, raid, and explore, their journeys spreading their influence across the known world. And though the harsh winters tested their spirit, they found solace and strength in their shared experiences, their myths, and their deep connection to the land that shaped their lives. The wind whispers through the trees, the waves lap gently against the shore, and in the quiet of the night you can almost hear the echoes of their stories. Now, as the waves gently lap against the shore in your mind, let's drift back to the early days of Viking exploration. The sea, a vast and mysterious expanse, called to them, just as it calls to us today in quieter ways. You might picture Vikings solely as fierce warriors, their longships slicing through the water, leaving a trail of plundered villages in their wake. And while that image holds a grain of truth, it's only part of the story. The initial raids weren't just about plunder. Let's examine the motivations behind those early voyages across the seas, those first hesitant steps into the unknown. Consider the life of a Viking farmer. The land, particularly in Scandinavia, could be unforgiving. Harsh winters, rocky soil, these weren't always kind to those who tilled the earth. The yield from the fields might barely sustain a family through the long, dark months. The sea, then, offered an alternative, a chance to supplement meager harvests. Imagine the thrill, the calculated risk of venturing beyond the familiar coastline. The ocean, though fearsome, also promised a bounty beyond the limitations of the land. Not just gold and silver, though those were certainly attractive prizes, but also furs, slaves, and exotic goods that could enrich their lives and communities. These weren't mindless acts of aggression. They were often carefully planned expeditions, requiring knowledge of navigation, shipbuilding, and cooperation amongst the crew. But perhaps the most compelling reason behind those early raids was something more fundamental: the sheer drive to explore, to discover. The Vikings were masterful sailors, possessing an innate understanding of the winds and currents. They weren't afraid of the open sea. It was their highway, their path to a better life, to a wider world. Their longships, marvelously designed vessels, were capable of navigating the choppiest waters and exploring intricate coastlines. Each journey was an expansion of their knowledge, a gradual unveiling of the map of the known world. These weren't just haphazard voyages. There was a method to their exploration, a careful charting of new lands and trade routes. They weren't necessarily aiming to conquer, at least not initially. The focus was often on establishing trade relations, securing resources, and forging alliances, strategic moves that laid the foundation for future expansion. Think of the immense courage it took to set sail, leaving behind the familiar comfort of home, braving the unpredictable forces of nature. These were not adventures undertaken lightly. Each journey carried a weight of risk, of uncertainty, yet also of immense potential. The early Viking raids, then, weren't simply acts of violence, but rather a reflection of the complex interplay of economic necessity, exploration, and the unyielding human spirit's desire to venture beyond the horizon. Each voyage added a new piece to the puzzle of their world, shaping their culture and ultimately leading to the far-reaching explorations that would redefine the geography and politics of Europe. And as you drift off to sleep, let the image of those long ships silently cutting through the waves gently lull you into the peaceful embrace of slumber. Imagine, if you will, the gentle lapping of water against the wooden hull. The air is crisp, carrying the scent of salt and pine. You are nestled aboard a Viking longship, the rhythmic creak of wood against wood a soothing lullaby. Feel the gentle sway beneath you as the vessel glides effortlessly across the water. This isn't just any boat. This is a marvel of engineering, perfectly adapted to the harsh beauty of the Norse seas. The longships, you see, weren't simply boats. They were extensions of the Viking spirit, a testament to their ingenuity and seafaring prowess. Their design was a masterpiece of simplicity and efficiency. The hull, slender and elegant, was built using the finest timber, often oak, chosen for its strength and resistance to decay. Each plank was carefully shaped and fitted together, creating a remarkably strong and flexible structure. Think of it as a living thing, bending and yielding to the waves, yet retaining its integrity. The clincher-built construction, overlapping planks fastened with rivets and wooden pegs, allowed the ship to flex and absorb the impact of waves, preventing catastrophic damage. It's a testament to the Viking shipwrights' deep understanding of wood's properties. They understood how to work with the grain, how to make each piece fit perfectly, creating a vessel that could withstand the brutal forces of the ocean. Notice the shallow draft, allowing the longships to navigate even the shallowest rivers and inlets. This versatility was crucial for Viking raids and exploration, enabling them to reach inland waterways and surprise unsuspecting settlements. The streamlined design, meanwhile, minimized water resistance, allowing for remarkable speed and maneuverability. Imagine the sleek lines cutting through the water, propelled by the powerful strokes of oarsmen, their rhythm a constant, calming sound. And the keel, that strong central spine of the ship, ran the length of the hull, providing stability and strength. This wasn't just a simple plank. It was skillfully crafted to withstand the stresses of long voyages and rough seas. The keel and the carefully shaped ribs forming the ship's skeleton worked in perfect harmony, giving the longship its characteristic elegance and robustness. But the brilliance of the design wasn't limited to the hull. The use of sails, often square or triangular, enabled the longships to harness the power of the wind. Picture the sail billowing, catching the breeze, and propelling the ship forward with effortless grace. The Vikings were masters of using the wind, adapting their course according to its direction, making long sea voyages possible, even across vast stretches of the open ocean. The combination of oars and sails meant that they could navigate in almost any conditions, making them truly formidable vessels. Even the details speak of ingenious design. The use of pitch, a tar-like substance, sealed the seams, making the ship watertight. Small details, yet vitally important for the ship's survival. As you drift off to sleep, let the rhythmic creak of the longship's timbers, the gentle sway of the sea, and the whisper of the wind in the sails lull you into a peaceful slumber. The Viking longships, a testament to human ingenuity, a testament to the power of nature and human collaboration, a symphony of wood, water, and wind. Now, as the embers of the day fade, let's drift away from the clang of steel and consider a different side of the Viking story. We often picture them as fierce warriors sailing longboats across stormy seas, but their voyages were not solely driven by conquest. Their longships, those elegant vessels, carried more than just weapons and warriors. They were floating marketplaces, connecting distant lands in a vast web of trade. Imagine the scene, a bustling marketplace, perhaps in Hedby, a major Viking trading center in what is now Denmark. The air is thick with the smells of salt, wood smoke, and exotic spices. Merchants, their faces weathered by sun and sea, haggle good-naturedly over prices. Rows of goods spill onto the ground, gleaming furs from the cold northern lands, shimmering silks from the Byzantine Empire, intricate amber jewelry from the Baltic coast. You might see intricately carved wooden chests brimming with silver, or perhaps stacks of walrus ivory destined for distant craftsmen. These weren't haphazard exchanges. The Vikings meticulously crafted sophisticated trade networks extending across continents. Their longships, incredibly seaworthy, allowed them to navigate treacherous waters, reaching far beyond the shores of Scandinavia. They sailed east to the rivers of Russia, establishing trade routes that would one day link the Baltic to the Black Sea and beyond. Imagine the journey, months at sea, navigating by the stars and the currents, relying on their deep knowledge of the seas and the winds. Their resilience is inspiring. To the west, they reached the coasts of Britain, Ireland, and France, exchanging goods and, sometimes, sadly, conflict. But even in the midst of raiding, trade often followed. They would take valuable items, of course, but they also traded furs, slaves, and other goods for things like silver, wine, and textiles. The Vikings weren't just taking, they were participating in a complex, multifaceted exchange. Further afield, their reach extended even to the shores of North America. While the evidence is still being uncovered and interpreted, it's increasingly clear that Vikings established a temporary settlement at Lanzos Meadows in Newfoundland, Canada, centuries before Columbus. Although the extent of trade from this outpost is still debated by scholars, the very existence of this settlement showcases the astonishing range of their seafaring abilities and their willingness to explore new trade opportunities. Think of the vast distances covered, the courage needed to venture into the unknown, the planning required to navigate and survive such extensive voyages. The goods traded weren't just material items. Ideas and cultural practices flowed along these trade routes as well. New techniques in shipbuilding or metalworking might travel from one place to another, or even religious beliefs, slowly transforming societies along their way. The Viking Age wasn't a monolithic period. It was a dynamic period of change and exchange, shaped significantly by these intricate trade networks. So, as you drift off to sleep, picture these bustling markets, the rhythmic creak of longships cutting through the waves, and the far-reaching impact of the Viking Age's remarkable trade. Let the quiet hum of these historical currents lull you into peaceful slumber. Imagine the longboats, their sturdy oak hulls gently slicing through the waves. The salty spray kissed the faces of the Viking crews, their breath misting in the chill air. They weren't just raiders, you see, though that's often how they're remembered. Many were farmers, craftsmen, families seeking new lands, a better life. And so they settled. First in Normandy, a rugged coastline in what is now France. The land was fertile, but it was already home to people, the Franks. And here a fascinating blend began. Picture a Viking longhouse, its sturdy timbers rising against a backdrop of rolling hills. Inside, the smells of roasting meat and baking bread mingle with the scent of unfamiliar herbs and spices, brought perhaps by Frankish wives or trade partners. The Vikings, known for their skill in shipbuilding and metalworking, shared their crafts. They taught the local people new techniques, new ways to farm the land, perhaps even new ways to fight. In return, they learned from the Franks, adopting new agricultural practices, new words, new ways of life. Children, born of Viking and Frankish parents, grew up speaking both languages, bridging the gap between two cultures. Their heritage was a tapestry woven from threads of different colors, different patterns, creating something uniquely beautiful. Slowly, over time, the distinctness of the Viking settlements lessened. The Norse language, once vibrant and strong, began to blend with Frankish dialects, forming new tongues that echoed both their origins. The runestones, once common markers, began to fade in importance, replaced by new writing styles and traditions. But the influence remained, a subtle undercurrent in the architecture, the language, the very spirit of the place. The blending was never a complete erasure. It was a merging, a coming together, a testament to human adaptability. Further west, across the vast ocean, another chapter unfolded. Think of the chill wind whipping across the icy waters, the creak of the longboats battling the waves. These intrepid explorers, some of them descendants of those who settled Normandy, reached the shores of North America, Vinland as they called it. Here, too, they encountered a different people, the native inhabitants of the land. The initial encounters were likely fraught with misunderstandings, struggles for resources, but also, undoubtedly, moments of unexpected connection and exchange. Imagine brief periods of coexistence, the sharing of limited resources, the silent exchange of gestures and expressions across the vast cultural divide. Skilled artisans from both groups likely shared techniques and ideas, although much of the story remains lost to the mists of time. The impact of the Viking settlements in North America, while brief compared to their lasting legacy in Normandy, serves as a reminder of the constant flow of human interaction and adaptation. The story of these settlements is not just one of conquest or exploration, but a quiet testament to the human capacity to adapt, to integrate, and to build new lives, even in the most challenging of environments. Each settlement, in its own way, echoes this story of human resilience and cross-cultural exchange, a gentle lullaby of human history. Imagine the chill wind whipping across the North Atlantic, the spray of icy waves against the wooden hull of a longship. Picture the Viking sailors bundled in furs, their faces etched with a mixture of determination and apprehension. They weren't driven by a thirst for conquest alone, though that played its part. Something deeper stirred within them, a yearning to discover what lay beyond the familiar shores, to chart the unknown waters that stretched before them like a vast, mysterious tapestry. Their journeys began close to home, in the fjords of Norway, a land of towering mountains and deep, dark valleys. From there, they sailed to Iceland, a land of fire and ice, a stark and beautiful island shrouded in mist and legend. It was a challenging voyage, demanding skill and resilience, testing the limits of their seafaring expertise. But they persevered, drawn by the promise of new pastures, new opportunities, and perhaps a sense of escape. Iceland became a stepping stone, a base from which to launch even bolder expeditions. Stories whispered on the wind spoke of a land farther west, a land of ice and snow, a land they would eventually call Greenland. The journey was perilous, the seas were treacherous, the winds unpredictable, and the threat of storms a constant companion. But the Vikings, with their innate seamanship and their unwavering spirit, pressed onward. Greenland, when they finally reached it, was a formidable challenge. A land of glaciers and ice sheets, it presented difficulties unimaginable to those who had only known the milder climates of their homeland. Yet they adapted. They established settlements, carving out lives in this harsh, unforgiving environment. They hunted seals and whales, fished the icy waters, and built sturdy homes, managing to thrive amidst the challenges. They learned to read the subtle changes in weather patterns, to understand the rhythms of the Arctic world, finding a harmony with the landscape that defied the expectations of others. But their explorations didn't end there. Some of the bravest, most adventurous souls pushed even further west, venturing into the mists that concealed the mystery of Vinland. The Sagas, those ancient tales passed down through generations, speak of a land of lush forests and fertile valleys, a land where the sun seemed to shine with a different intensity. Was it a figment of imagination, a fanciful story told to enthrall, or was it a real place, a land reached by those hardy explorers who dared to cross the vast expanse of ocean? We may never know the full extent of their voyages, the precise locations they reached, or the true nature of their encounters with the indigenous peoples they met. The mists of time have obscured many details, but the spirit of their explorations endures. Their courage, their resilience, their unwavering determination to push the boundaries of the known world remains a testament to the power of human curiosity, a beacon that continues to illuminate the path for future explorers, dreamers, and adventurers. Their longships, though long since weathered and broken, still sail in the imagination, carrying us along on the currents of their incredible stories. Let the rhythmic sound of the waves lull you into a peaceful sleep as you carry with you the echoes of their courageous voyages. As the long twilight settles over the Norse lands, let's drift into the world of their ancient beliefs, a world woven from myth and legend. Imagine the wind whispering through the fjords, carrying tales of gods and heroes. At the heart of it all sits Odin, the All-Father, a wise and powerful god, one-eyed from a sacrifice he made to gain wisdom. He sits upon his throne in Asgard, the shining city in the heavens, ever watchful, ever pondering the fates of mortals and gods alike. His ravens, Hugin and Munin, thought and memory, fly far and wide, bringing him news from all the 9 realms. Beside Odin sits his wife, Frigg, the goddess of marriage and motherhood, her wisdom a quiet counterpoint to Odin's restless energy. She knows the fates of many, but keeps her counsel, for even the All-Father cannot know everything. Their son, Thor, the thunder god, is a familiar figure, his mighty hammer Mjolnir echoing across the skies, a symbol of strength and protection against giants and the forces of chaos. He embodies the power of nature itself, the storms that rage and the earth that trembles. But the Norse world isn't just a place of powerful gods. It's filled with a whole host of beings, some friendly, some not so much. There are the Aesir, the chief gods dwelling in Asgard, and the Vanir, gods of nature and fertility, initially at odds, but eventually forming an uneasy alliance. Among the Vanir is Freya, the goddess of love, beauty, and war, a powerful sorceress who rides across the sky in her chariot pulled by cats. She represents the potent and sometimes unpredictable forces of nature, and her beauty is both alluring and awe-inspiring. And then there are the giants, vast and powerful beings, sometimes allies, sometimes enemies of the gods. Their immense strength and unpredictable nature represent the untamed forces of the world. Loki, the trickster god, is a being apart, sometimes helping the Aesir, sometimes hindering them, his unpredictable actions often causing chaos and trouble, but also leading to unexpected solutions. His cunning and mischievous nature makes him a compelling and unforgettable figure in Norse mythology. These gods weren't just abstract ideas. They were active participants in the lives of the Norse people. Their stories explained the mysteries of the world, the changing seasons, the storms at sea, the cycles of life and death. These tales, passed down through generations, provided a framework for understanding the world and their place within it, offering comfort and guidance in a sometimes harsh and unpredictable environment. Each god held a unique position, weaving a complex tapestry of power, wisdom, and the ever-present threat of chaos. So breathe in the cool night air. Let the whisper of the wind carry you to the shores of the Norse lands, and dream of Odin, Thor, Freya, and the rest, their stories echoing through time. The tales of the gods and giants are a rich part of the human story, a reminder that even in the darkest night, stories can shine bright, offering comfort and wonder until the dawn breaks again. Sleep now, and let the myths lull you into peaceful slumber. Imagine, if you will, a longship gliding silently across the dark, still waters of a fjord. The moon hangs heavy in the sky, casting a silvery sheen on the polished wood of the vessel. This isn't just any wood. This is painstakingly crafted timber, smoothed by countless hours of patient hands. Feel the smoothness of it now, tracing the gentle curves with your fingertips. The grain, so fine, so even, tells a story of careful selection, of forests ancient and vast. Each plank, fitted with precision, speaks of a skill passed down through generations, a legacy born of necessity and shaped by artistry. The Vikings, often depicted as fierce warriors, were also incredibly skilled craftspeople. Their artistry wasn't limited to the construction of their ships. Think of the intricate carvings adorning the prow, depicting fearsome dragons or mythical beasts, each scale and claw meticulously detailed. The wood itself seems to breathe under your touch, the artistry whispering secrets of Norse mythology and ancient legends. Now, let your mind drift to the interior of a Viking longhouse. The fire crackles softly, casting flickering shadows on the walls, revealing the intricate patterns woven into the tapestries. Deep reds, rich blues, and earthy browns combine in complex geometric designs, each thread carefully placed, each knot securely fastened. Feel the weight of the wool against your skin, the warmth it would have offered on a cold winter's night. These weren't just functional items, they were works of art, vibrant expressions of a people deeply connected to their environment. Consider the metalwork. Imagine the weight of a finely crafted brooch, cool against your skin. Its intricate design, a swirling knotwork of silver or gold, is a testament to the Vikings' mastery of metalworking techniques. They were adept at both casting and hammering, creating objects of breathtaking beauty and functionality. Runes, the ancient Norse alphabet, might be subtly incorporated into the design, adding a layer of symbolic meaning. Feel the subtle texture, the delicate interplay of light and shadow on the polished surface. Each piece is unique, a reflection of the craftsman's skill and imagination. Think of the weapons, too. They were not merely instruments of war. They were also works of art. Sword hilts, adorned with intricate carvings and inlaid with precious metals, speak of a deep appreciation for both aesthetics and functionality. The craftsmanship is evident in every detail, from the balanced weight of the blade to the exquisite ornamentation of the pommel. Feel the imagined cool steel against your skin, the weight of it balanced in your hand. It's a feeling of power, certainly, but also of artistry and the dedication of its creator. Every axe head, every spear point, every helmet crest carries with it the silent echo of skilled hands, working with determination and a deep connection to the materials they used. The artistry of the Vikings is a testament to their resilience, their resourcefulness, and their deep understanding of their world. It's a legacy that continues to inspire awe and wonder, even centuries later. Let the imagery of these exquisite creations soothe you, as you drift off into a peaceful sleep. Imagine the long, twilight evenings in a Viking village. The air, carrying the scent of wood smoke and salt, grows cooler as the sun dips below the horizon. The sounds of the day, the clang of hammers, the cries of children, the lowing of cattle, slowly fade, replaced by the gentle lapping of water against the wooden boats pulled ashore. This was the heart of Viking society, a world built on strong family ties, fierce clan loyalties, and surprisingly intricate community bonds. The family was the fundamental building block. Think of a close-knit unit, perhaps a longhouse filled with generations living under one roof. Grandparents, parents, children, and sometimes even more distant relatives shared meals, stories, and the daily tasks of life. Respect for elders was paramount. Their wisdom and experience guided the younger generations. Children learned early the importance of loyalty and cooperation, essential traits for survival in a harsh, unpredictable world. A strong family meant a strong foundation, both within the home and within the larger social structure. Beyond the immediate family lay the clan. Imagine these clans as extended families, bound by blood and shared ancestry. They might trace their lineage back to a common ancestor, a legendary hero, or perhaps a powerful chieftain. These clan affiliations were immensely important. They provided a network of support, offering protection against external threats, assistance during times of hardship, and a sense of belonging. But this close-knit structure also led to intense rivalries. Disputes between clans over land, resources, or honor were common, sometimes escalating into violent conflicts. Yet, despite these rivalries, a sense of community held the various clans together. Picture the village itself, a collection of longhouses huddled together for mutual protection. Shared resources, cooperative farming practices, and the collective defense of the settlement fostered a strong sense of unity. The annual feasts, celebrations, and religious rituals served not only to honor the gods, but also to reinforce community bonds. Everyone had a role to play, from the most experienced warrior to the youngest child, contributing to the overall well-being of the group. This cooperation was essential for survival in a land where unpredictable weather, raids from rival groups, and the ever-present danger of the sea were constant factors. Consider the intricate system of laws and customs that governed Viking society. These weren't written down in the way we're familiar with, but passed down through generations, orally and through actions. These unwritten rules helped maintain order within the clan and the broader community, addressing issues of inheritance, marriage, and conflict resolution. While harsh punishments might be meted out for serious transgressions, there was also a strong emphasis on restorative justice, aiming to reconcile disputes and preserve the social fabric. So, as you drift off to sleep, picture that Viking village, bathed in the soft glow of a setting sun. Imagine the warmth of family, the strength of clan, and the interwoven fabric of community that held Viking society together. A testament to the enduring power of human connection, even in a time and place seemingly defined by fierce independence and brutal conflict. The rhythm of the waves, the rustling of leaves, these sounds are a lullaby from a distant past, a gentle reminder of the resilience of the human spirit. Sleep well. Now, as the embers glow and the night settles in, let's drift to the shores of Scandinavia, a land often painted with broad strokes of myth and legend. We often picture Vikings as fierce warriors, men sailing longboats, raiding villages. But the story of the Vikings, like any historical narrative, is far richer, far more nuanced than that single image. Tonight, we'll explore the lives of Viking women, whose roles were complex and varied, challenging the traditional image we so often see. Imagine a young girl born into a Viking community. Her life wouldn't be defined solely by domesticity, not entirely. While she would learn the skills of weaving, spinning wool into warm threads for clothing, and tending to the home, she also learned other things. She learned about the herbs and plants that healed, the secrets of preserving food for the long winters, and how to manage the household's finances, a crucial skill in any community, especially one relying on trade and agriculture. As she grew, the horizons broadened. Some Viking women were traders, traveling alongside their husbands or even independently, navigating bustling marketplaces across the seas. They bartered goods, struck deals, and built networks of commerce that extended across vast distances. Picture them, strong and resourceful, haggling prices with merchants in far-off lands, their voices confident and assured. Others remained closer to home, managing large farmsteads and estates. They oversaw the planting and harvesting of crops, the care of livestock, and the distribution of resources among family members. These were women of power and authority, their decisions impacting the well-being of their entire household. Their leadership wasn't expressed through military conquest, but through shrewd management and economic stability. It was a different form of power, no less significant. And then there are the stories, often whispered, of the shield maidens. While the existence of large-scale female warrior units remains a subject of ongoing debate among historians, accounts from sagas suggest women sometimes participated in combat, either alongside male relatives or independently. Their role might have been more about defense, protecting their homes and families rather than large-scale conquest. But even the potential for such a role challenges the common stereotype. Consider, too, the women who were healers and seers, wielding knowledge of herbal remedies and perhaps possessing a certain intuitive understanding of the world. They held positions of respect within their communities, offering solace and guidance. Their voices were listened to, not just because of their healing abilities, but because they were often seen as holding a connection to something beyond the material world. The lives of Viking women weren't always easy, of course. They faced the same hardships as their male counterparts: harsh winters, illness, the ever-present threat of conflict. Yet, their roles were far more diverse and influential than many historical accounts suggest. They were mothers, wives, traders, farmers, healers, possibly even warriors. They were multifaceted, resilient, and vital to the very fabric of Viking society. So, as you drift off to sleep tonight, remember these women, their strength, their resilience, and their complex stories. A reminder that history is rarely as simple as it first appears. Sleep now, and let the whispers of the past carry you to peaceful dreams. The wind whispers secrets across the fjords, carrying with it the echoes of ancient voices. Tonight, we drift to the shores of the north, where the sagas unfold, Stories passed down through generations, whispered around crackling fires under the aurora borealis. These aren't just stories of battles and bloodshed, though those are certainly present. They are glimpses into the lives of the Vikings, their beliefs, their loves, and their losses. Imagine a longship, its dark hull slicing through the gray-green water. On board, strong arms grip oars, rhythmically pulling, propelling the vessel forward, towards a distant shore. Perhaps a raid, perhaps a trade, perhaps simply a new life. The sagas tell of these journeys, of brave warriors and shrewd merchants, of the constant rhythm of the sea shaping their lives. We hear of Ragnar Lothbrok, a legendary Viking hero, his exploits woven into tales of daring raids and cunning strategies. But the sagas aren't just about the famous. They reveal the lives of ordinary people. A farmer, tending his fields, battling the harsh climate, praying to Odin for a bountiful harvest. A woman, weaving intricate tapestries, her fingers nimble and sure, her stories sewn into the very fabric. A child, listening wide-eyed as a grandfather recounts tales of gods and monsters, of Valhalla and the afterlife. The gods themselves are woven into the fabric of these stories. Odin, the All-Father, sits on his throne, observing the world with a knowing gaze. Thor, the god of thunder, wields his mighty hammer, protecting the realms from giants and chaos. Freya, the goddess of love and beauty, her chariot pulled by cats, glides through the skies. These gods are not distant, ethereal beings. They are active participants in the lives of the Vikings, shaping their destinies, influencing their choices. The sagas speak of their beliefs, their reverence for nature, their respect for ancestors. They were a people deeply connected to the land and the sea, their lives interwoven with the cycles of the seasons, the ebb and flow of the tides. And death. It wasn't an end, but a transition. The sagas describe Valhalla, the glorious hall where brave warriors feast eternally, rewarded for their courage and loyalty. It paints a picture of a vibrant afterlife, a promise of continued existence, a comforting thought in the face of a harsh and often unpredictable world. As the waves crash gently against the shore, imagine yourself nestled in a longhouse, listening to the rhythmic chanting of a skald, a poet recounting the saga of a clan, a family, a hero. The fire crackles, casting dancing shadows on the walls. The stories unfold, weaving a tapestry of lives lived long ago, lives that somehow still resonate, whispering across centuries, carried on the wind, the waves, the whispers of the sagas. And as the last ember fades, let these ancient tales lull you into a peaceful sleep, the echoes of the north still whispering in your dreams. The wind whispers tales of change, as it always has, carrying the scent of pine and salt across the fading Norse landscapes. The Viking Age, you see, didn't simply vanish like mist in the morning sun. It didn't end with a dramatic battle or a sudden decree. Instead, it gently unfolded, its sharp edges softening, its vibrant colors blending into a new tapestry of life. Imagine the longships, once symbols of fearsome raids, gradually becoming less frequent on the horizon. The clang of swords, once echoing across battlefields, slowly faded, replaced by the quieter sounds of hammers on anvils in burgeoning towns. The shift wasn't sudden. It was a gradual transition, a slow, almost imperceptible merging of cultures. Consider the Norman conquest of England, a pivotal moment. William the Conqueror, a descendant of Viking warriors, himself brought a sophisticated military machine and an administrative system that irrevocably altered the political landscape. Yet, within this change, the Norse spirit remained. Think of the language, the deeply ingrained societal structures. Elements of Viking culture remained woven into the fabric of Norman society. It wasn't a conquest that eradicated the past, but a transformation, a fusion. In Scandinavia itself, the picture was much the same. The great chieftains, the jarls and kings who had once led the raiding parties, slowly consolidated their power, becoming increasingly involved in complex governance. The focus turned inward towards building stronger kingdoms, fostering trade, and developing more sophisticated social structures. The allure of distant lands, the promise of plunder, lost its intensity. The rich soil of their homeland beckoned, promising a more stable and rewarding life. Christianity played a significant role in this transformation. The adoption of Christianity, spread gradually throughout Scandinavia, was not a violent imposition. It represented a cultural shift, a merging of beliefs. Old Norse gods and goddesses were not simply erased. They faded into legend and lore, their stories gradually becoming intertwined with the narratives of Christian saints. The magnificent stave churches which dot the Scandinavian landscape stand as silent witnesses to this peaceful transition, a testament to the merging of old and new beliefs. This doesn't mean that raiding completely ceased. Smaller-scale expeditions continued for some time, driven more by local rivalries than the grand ambitions of the early Viking Age. But the grand scale of the earlier exploits had passed. The energy that once propelled daring voyages across treacherous seas now flowed into the building of magnificent cathedrals, the establishment of thriving market towns, and the cultivation of fertile fields. The Viking Age, therefore, did not end, but transformed. Its vibrant legacy continues to influence the languages, cultures, and political systems of Northern Europe. It's a story of evolution, not revolution, a story whispered on the wind, a story you carry within you as you drift towards a peaceful slumber. The echoes of the past remain, woven into the present, awaiting your rediscovery in your dreams. The longboats have sailed away. The fierce battles have faded into the mists of time. But the story of the Vikings, their lives, their journeys, their impact, that continues to echo through the ages. Imagine, if you will, the quiet hum of a modern Scandinavian language, a subtle lilt and rhythm woven into everyday speech. Words like berserk or skall, even the very word Viking itself, are remnants, whispers of a Norse past. These are gifts, linguistic echoes carried across centuries, reminding us of the seafarers who carved their mark on the world's vocabulary. Think of the intricate knotwork patterns you might see on a piece of modern jewelry or in the architecture of a building. These designs, often complex and elegant, often trace their origins back to the Vikings, their skilled artisans weaving intricate threads of symbolism and artistry into everyday objects. These designs aren't merely decorative, they speak of a rich cultural heritage, a heritage of craftsmanship, and a deep connection to the natural world. Their influence isn't confined to objects and words, it's woven into the very fabric of many cultures. Consider the legal systems of many Northern European countries. Elements of Viking law, their concepts of justice and community, subtly inform the frameworks we use today. It's like finding a smooth gray river stone in a modern garden, a quiet reminder of the landscape that shaped it. The Vikings weren't just warriors, they were farmers, traders, explorers, and navigators. Their agricultural practices, their sophisticated shipbuilding techniques, their skill in navigating by the stars, these skills left their indelible mark, enriching the communities they encountered and influencing the development of new technologies. Think of the sturdy, long-lasting ships they built, capable of traversing immense distances across open water. The knowledge and expertise required to craft such vessels were shared and adapted, contributing to advancements in shipbuilding for centuries after the Viking Age. And the story doesn't end there. The legacy of the Vikings is written not only in books and buildings, but also in our genes. Genetic studies reveal a remarkable scattering of Viking DNA across the globe. Their travels, their interactions, their alliances and conflicts, these left an indelible mark on the genetic makeup of populations from the British Isles to North America and beyond. It's a quiet testament to their far-reaching explorations and their lasting influence on human populations. Imagine a tiny thread of Norse heritage flowing through countless individuals, a silent connection stretching across millennia. It's a fascinating testament to human migration and the enduring power of genetic inheritance. So, as you drift toward sleep, let the echoes of Viking sagas, their artistry, their language, and their legacy soothe you. They're a part of the tapestry of history, woven subtly yet profoundly into the world we inhabit today. Their stories continue to whisper in the rustling leaves, in the murmur of the sea, and in the very fabric of our being. Breathe deeply, relax, and let the quiet strength of their enduring legacy lull you into peaceful slumber. So, we've journeyed through the Viking Age, haven't we? From the icy fjords of Scandinavia, across the stormy seas, and to the shores of distant lands. We've seen the longships glide, their oars dipping rhythmically into the waves, a hypnotic motion mirroring the ebb and flow of life itself. We've met the people, farmers tilling the soil, fierce warriors clashing steel, skilled craftspeople carving intricate runes into wood and bone, and traders bartering goods across bustling marketplaces. We've felt the chill wind whipping across the North Sea, smelled the wood smoke curling from longhouses, and heard the haunting strains of ancient songs drifting on the breeze. Think for a moment about the complexity of their world. These weren't simply bloodthirsty raiders, as popular tales might suggest. They were explorers, driven by a thirst for the unknown, charting courses across unmapped waters with courage and ingenuity. They were navigators, reading the stars and currents with an understanding born of generations spent at sea. They were builders, crafting magnificent longships and grand halls, testaments to their skill and ambition. They were artists, leaving behind intricately woven textiles, finely crafted jewelry, and powerful runic inscriptions that speak volumes about their beliefs and worldview. And they were farmers, toiling the land, ensuring the survival of their families and communities. We often see history through a simplified lens, focusing on the dramatic events, the battles, the conquests, the raids. But consider the quieter aspects of Viking life, the everyday routines, the bonds of family and community, the stories shared around the fire on long winter nights. Imagine the warmth of a hearth, the comfort of a shared meal, the quiet contentment of a job well done. These are the moments that make up the fabric of any society, the moments that weave the tapestry of a people's existence. These moments are just as important as the grand battles and sweeping political shifts. The Viking Age, like all ages, was a time of both light and shadow. It was a period of exploration and expansion, but also one of conflict and upheaval. It was an era marked by remarkable achievements in navigation, craftsmanship, and storytelling, yet it also bore witness to brutality and violence. Understanding the Viking Age means grappling with its contradictions, recognizing the multifaceted nature of their culture and the human beings who shaped it. Perhaps, as you drift off to sleep, you might picture a lone Viking gazing out at the vast ocean, the setting sun painting the sky in fiery hues. You might imagine the hushed reverence of a burial ritual, or the lively chatter of a bustling marketplace. Let the images and sounds of this complex and fascinating era wash over you, a gentle reminder of the enduring power of human history and the rich tapestry of human experience. And as you gently drift into slumber, know that the Viking Age, with all its triumphs and tragedies, lives on in the echoes of its stories, the remnants of its culture, and the enduring legacy of the people who shaped it. Sleep well now. Now, as the embers of our story gently fade, you might find yourself wanting to linger a little longer in this world of history, to explore the nooks and crannies we've only just touched upon. Perhaps the whisper of a name, a fleeting image, or a single detail sparked a curiosity within you, a desire to delve deeper into the past. And that's perfectly all right. In fact, it's wonderful. History is a vast and endlessly fascinating ocean, and we've only dipped our toes in today. If the tale of the Roman aqueducts resonated with you, imagine tracing their paths on a map, visualizing the water flowing through those ancient channels, sustaining a bustling civilization. You might find yourself drawn to books detailing Roman engineering, or perhaps even documentaries showcasing the meticulous reconstruction efforts of modern archaeologists. The Internet, with its boundless resources, can lead you to detailed architectural plans, scholarly articles, and even interactive 3D models that allow you to virtually walk through these magnificent structures. Consider seeking out books focusing on the daily lives of Roman citizens, perhaps even those who worked on the aqueducts themselves. Their stories, though long silent, can be pieced together from fragments of evidence, offering a glimpse into their routines, their struggles, and their triumphs. Maybe the story of the Silk Road captured your imagination, conjuring images of caravans winding through treacherous mountain passes, laden with silks, spices, and precious goods. The journey of these merchants, their encounters with diverse cultures, their successes and failures, these are all rich avenues for exploration. You could delve into the historical geography of the Silk Road, tracing its various routes on ancient maps and modern satellite imagery. Imagine following the threads of trade, discovering the intricate network of connections that linked distant empires. Perhaps you'll find yourself engrossed in the lives of individual travelers, their diaries and letters offering a personal perspective on this epic journey. You could explore the impact of the Silk Road on cultural exchange, examining the flow of ideas, religions, and artistic styles across continents. The possibilities are truly vast. And if the whispers of ancient Egypt stirred something within you, picture yourself standing before the towering pyramids, feeling the weight of history beneath your feet. The world of ancient Egypt is abundant with mystery and wonder. Dive into the hieroglyphs, attempting to decipher their secrets, uncovering the narratives hidden within their intricate carvings. Explore the lives of pharaohs, their reigns marked by both grandeur and conflict. Delve into the fascinating world of Egyptian mythology, learning about their beliefs, their gods, and their understanding of the afterlife. There are countless books, documentaries, and online resources dedicated to ancient Egypt, offering a gateway to a civilization that continues to captivate us today. This, my friend, is just a starting point. Allow your curiosity to be your guide. Let your imagination soar, and let the threads of history weave their way into your dreams. Sleep well, and may your dreams be filled with the echoes of history. The salt spray whispers secrets to the shore, a soft sigh against the sand. Imagine yourself there, nestled on a dune overlooking the North Sea. The wind, a gentle hand, brushes your face, carrying the scent of seaweed and distant rain. The air is cool, a comforting blanket on a summer's evening, or perhaps a crisp autumn night, depending on your preference. The sky, a vast canvas painted with the deepest blues and softest grays, stretches endlessly above. Stars begin to prick the darkening heavens, tiny pinpricks of light against the velvet backdrop. Listen closely. Can you hear it? The rhythmic hush of the waves as they roll in, one after another, a constant, soothing pulse. Each wave is a tiny story, a journey from the far-off horizon, carrying the weight of the ocean's breath. They creep onto the shore, their foamy fingers tracing patterns in the sand, before retreating back into the deep, leaving behind a shimmering trail of moonlight. This ebb and flow, this constant movement, mirrors the rhythm of your own breath, slowing, deepening, becoming one with the sea's gentle pulse. You feel the sand beneath you, cool and smooth, a comforting grounding. Perhaps you're lying on a worn old blanket, a favorite from childhood, its familiar texture a source of comfort. The weight of your worries melts away, carried off by the tide, dissolving into the vastness of the ocean. Your body relaxes, every muscle unwinding, releasing tension held captive for too long. Your mind slows, thoughts drifting like seabirds on the breeze, graceful and effortless. The sound of the waves continues, a hypnotic lullaby. They crash gently, a soft percussion, a whispered secret only the sea and you can share. The distant cries of gulls fade into the background, their calls muted, almost musical, part of the ocean's symphony. The rhythm is comforting, predictable, a steady beat that anchors you to the moment. You're safe here, protected by the vastness of the sea, cradled by the rhythmic motion of the waves. The stars above twinkle, their light reflecting in the wet sand, creating a path of glittering diamonds leading out to the horizon. You feel a sense of peace, a profound stillness settle over you. Your breathing becomes even, deeper, matching the gentle rise and fall of the waves. Your eyelids feel heavy, your body sinking deeper into the soft sand. The ocean's rhythm wraps around you, a warm embrace, guiding you towards sleep. Let the sounds of the sea wash over you, cleansing your mind and body. Let the rhythm lull you into a peaceful, restful slumber. The North Sea whispers its secrets to you, promising a night of deep, restorative sleep. Drift away now, letting the waves carry you to the shores of dreams. Good night.